1,827 days. That's a very big number. It has been 1,827 days since I began this project. And so that is give or take 5 years, which is, half a decade, a long portion of my life. Now, of course, when I started this project, I was not working on it full time, so it hasn't been a completely consistent thing. But I cannot believe how far the project has evolved in such a relatively short time. Now, Misc: A Tiny Tale is a 3D platformer all about playing as a tiny robot. It's your job to collect the golden cogs scattered throughout the land, recycle trash, and help others around you. Now, this year I plan to launch the game. It is at the final parts of development. We are getting ready for everything to go out, which is so exciting. And of course, it's been a really, really big journey. So I just wanted to spend some time today on this sort of anniversary to really reflect on the process, maybe answer some of your questions about how I got here, and really just look at where the project has evolved. Now, ever since I was a kid, I have been absolutely fascinated by games, and specifically game development. Finding ways to open up a game, mod it, and change its textures, or change different values that alter the gameplay was really, really exciting. Now, I didn't do this alone, of course. I had my brother right beside me, and he was also very interested in game development. And so thanks to things like YouTube, for example, I was really able to do a lot of independent research on game development, figure out things like what is a game engine, and how to 3D model and how to texture, how to do sound design, and all those type of skills. And as a teenager going into my adulthood, a lot of time was spent just messing around, really trying these tools out, working on different projects, and really just more than anything, having fun with it. I really love the process of making games. I love the process of seeing an idea come to life. It's one of the most incredible and sort of magical feelings that I think you can really get. And so for a long time in the back of my head, an idea was brewing for my own original game. Now, as I said, I'm a big Nintendo fan, so, I grew up with so many different titles. Of course, Mario, Zelda, all that type of stuff, but I also played some of the more niche games that they had. Now, sadly, a lot of games like Chibi Robo and some other niche titles that maybe didn't do as commercially well in the world, especially in sort of English-speaking countries, those type of games aren't really available anymore. But that's the beauty of indie development. You can pretty much make whatever game you want. More than anything, I wanted to create a game that did one simple thing, a game that celebrated difference. And so for me, this really meant showing the player through a story and through gameplay that there are so many different types of people out there that you can meet. Now, in its final form, it ended up not being people, but of course being robots, and this worked out perfectly. You see, at the time that I started the game's development, I was completely new to characters. Before this, I was really familiar with environments, and I was good at sort of being a 3D environment artist. But I never worked on rigging a character. I never worked on really anything that was sort of organic and sort of sculpted like a human would be. So I used that limitation to really think, what am I good at? And I know I'm good at physical objects. So miscellaneous objects, scrap parts, anything metallic will really work well and be easy to produce. And on top of that, if I stylize it in a particular way, I can use those limitations of, not being able to animate as fluidly as other people might be able to actually create something very unique. So our main character, Buddy, for example, is of course a robot made of miscellaneous items. All of these sort of different items, such as his body, which is made of a can, was something that I was very used to creating in the past. I was new to character animation, so I didn't give him a mouth. I also knew that if I did different techniques like making his limbs float, it was much easier for him to create cartoonish animations. And so ultimately that's how I found the style for Misc. It was really a blend between realistic things that I was very comfortable and knowledgeable about, but also bring in that sort of whimsical charm that gives me some flexibility in believability. And this combination could not have worked better. I think I've really created something quite unique, something that really resonates with a lot of people, and hopefully something that you agree looks quite beautiful. Now, choosing the gameplay was very easy for me. I knew this had to be a platformer because it was something that I grew up with. I did not want to create an experience or a game that I couldn't master myself or I couldn't enjoy myself. So I really focused on, stuff that I enjoy playing, stuff that I'm pretty good at playing as well. But I didn't just want it to be a collectathon where, you don't really have much story or you don't have a sense of purpose in this world. One of the key things that I've worked on in previous projects is really the ability to explore. And so I wanted that world that you're exploring to be interesting. And of course, walking around as a tiny robot, 3 centimeters tall, that's such a unique perspective that you don't typically see in a lot of games. So, you're going through and exploring this environment, but you're actually walking around on familiar objects. And sometimes you might not notice this until you're halfway across the object. You might be walking and look down and notice, oh, that's a ruler. And so I think that sort of perspective shift makes the environment you explore that much more compelling. Now, as I always say, the heart of our game is our characters, and Buddy, the main character of the game, is not alone. Your best friend Bagboy and his very strange cat Flick is always with you. And throughout the game, you will see them journey across many different lands, go through many different battles, and ultimately change in the end. And of course, you've got a ton of characters to discover and explore. There's 9 chapters in the full game, and there are so many different characters you'll meet along the way. And I've tried my best to really make each and every one of them lovable, have their own unique personality. And I really hope that by the end of the experience, someone will come away with a favorite character. And I'm hoping that favorite character won't be the same for everyone. I'm really hoping that there's enough variety in these characters that everybody can kind of pick their own. Now, of course, Misc is all about helping others around you. So you will be collecting coins to buy things at the shop. You'll be using those things that you buy at the shop to exchange and help others in the village. You'll be talking to characters to help them with their problems. You'll also be cleaning the environment around you. Now, you can do this by picking up trash or even using your brush to scrub away goo. And I think all of these elements sort of come together in a way that feels very satisfying, that really takes you on a big journey throughout the world. And I hope it's something that you enjoy experiencing. I hope you enjoy the cinematics in it that I've put a lot of time into, the music from our music composer, which I could not be prouder of, and all the little pieces of art that Chris has worked on. Throughout these years, we've had so many different people work on the project in small ways and big ways, and I would not be here without their help. I would not be here without our 2 biggest supporters, Screen Australia and Screen West, and of course the family and friends around me. The game is just around the corner, and I'm really excited for you guys to try it and get it into your hands. There's just a little bit more work to do, and I'm really, really eager for your impressions. I definitely never thought that I could create a game like this. Having sat down recently with friends and family and being able to play the full experience, being able to see their reactions and their experience with the characters and the story has just been so heartwarming. I've definitely cried a lot of times getting through the ending of the game, and I think it's just so representative of the journey I've been on in these 5 years. I really believe that the heart of a game comes from the love put into its development. And I think that, we've put so much love and so much time into this game, and I'm really hoping that you're going to be able to see that and experience that and feel that in the story we've written. It's definitely not been an easy journey. This is a lot of work, a lot of stress, and a lot of unknowns. I think I've grown so much with this project and grown so much as a person because of it. And that's something that without this project, I'm not sure I would have really been able to do. So at the end of the day, I hope you look forward to Misc A Tiny Tale when it is out. This is something that I think is just so special and so exciting. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I cannot wait to see where it takes us.
Come with me, let's go out in the sun. We're miscellaneous, let's lend a hand to help everyone. We're free to be like this. We're happy to be here with all our friends so near, looking up at the sky with you, I'll fly so fast.